Hello, I'm Sharir, and I just watched. Try that again. Hello, my name is Sharir, and I just watched the new Jurassic Park film, Jurassic World, and I want to talk about it. I just have some bullet points here. Let me look at them. The first Jurassic Park film is my all time favorite film of all time.
You said all time twice.
This is from a lens of a diehard fan of the original movie. Hopefully, the microphone doesn't sound as bad as the previous video. I went with a friend of mine and her family. Thank you, Mary. You're the best. The experience before we talk about the movie, the theater experience was phenomenal. We went to this fancy theater. I think it had like reclining seats, and the front table was on a swivel. It was beautiful.
The food's for when the preview starts. Oh, that's so.
Definitely the most comfortable movie experience that I ever had. Now on to the actual film. Some positives first, because it does have some positives. Surprisingly, the film has a lot more positives than Jurassic World Dominion, which isn't really a high bar, I guess, but still. There are some scenes in this movie that I really like. I'll try to be as not spoilery as possible. This movie treats the dinosaurs like just animals again, which I can't say for most of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park films after the first one. There's this scene in the middle where they mimic the Brachiosaurus scene from the first movie. Another positive thing about this movie is that it highlights some dinosaurs that don't really get that much spotlight, if that makes sense. Quetzalcoatlus being one of them, and I'm trying to remember what the tiny guy's name is. Is it Protoceratops? I'm not sure. I'll check. I particularly like it's not a spoiler because they show it in the trailer, okay, the trailer makes this movie out to be worse than it is. Because watching the trailer, it feels like such generic corporate slop, which it still is, but it's not as bad as the trailer made it out to be. The T-Rex raft scene, which isn't like completely identical to the book, but that's a scene that I still like, even though I don't like how it resolved, but still, I like that part. Alright, now, I'll probably maybe have a full video when it comes on digital platforms. That way I can actually look at it again properly and analyze it. But for now, these are just my first impressions. First of all, the plot. It seems like a 5-year-old wrote this. Hey, let's take the 3 biggest dinosaurs from from the land, the sea, and the skies, and get their DNA and then make a miracle drug. If they had done it like this, where it was like they needed a DNA of a very niche dinosaur that no one has heard of, and maybe that dinosaur does something differently, something different about its biology, uh, even then it would have somewhat made sense. But currently, I think the plot is dumb. The movie also has in the beginning it has text appear on screen, and that made me enrage because I'm here to watch a movie, not read a book. If I wanted to read a book, I would have read a book. Show me instead of writing it on the screen. And the stupidest part is literally like a few minutes, 5 minutes or something like that later in the film, they show like a kids animation on television in the movie, and it explains all of the things that the text said. So why have the text there to begin with? What's the point? There's so many moments like that where like does there's just straight up exposition thrown at you, and it feels unnatural. One moment that somewhere in the middle of the film, the bad guy, the antagonist, and one of our protagonists, and along with the group, uh, they're going through a swampy, marshy land, and then suddenly, all of them just stop while the bad guys in like knee deep water, not even knee deep, like chest deep water, and one of our protagonists, he just starts monologuing to the other person. Straight up exposition, like, oh, climate change is so bad, and it's destroying the planet, and all this philosophical discussion while we're trekking through dinosaur infested swampy marshlands while knee deep, chest deep in water. Like, it just, I don't know, man. I think that it could have been done a better way, or perhaps just not have that dialogue interaction in that moment and have it in another moment. I don't know. Lots of forced characterization. So, because all of the most, if not all of the characters are one dimensional and boring, they had to put some spices in there to like make the characters at least a bit more interesting than a plank of wood. They throw in the her partner died or his kid died in a very like you'll if you watch the film, you'll know what scene I'm talking about, where Scarlett Johansson's character, Zora Bennett, and Mahershala Ali's character, Duncan, they get in a fairly long dialogue exchange, and it just comes off as really like added on. Like they thought of it later, that, oh, we gotta make these characters interesting somewhat. Another thing is, uh, so our protagonists, especially Zora Bennett and Duncan, they're mercenaries. They're horrible people who accepted this job purely for money. So they're like horrible to begin with, like straight off. And I get it that protagonist doesn't always mean that they'll be like good people. But the thing is, the movie doesn't like naturally, at least in my opinion, it doesn't naturally make them better. It just sort of happens later in the movie where uh, one character just asks Zora Bennett that, oh, hey, would you like to do a good thing? And Zora's like, I'll think about it. It just happens not naturally, but just abruptly. This may be a horrible point, I don't know. Lots of references to the first film, oh my god. Now, I am okay with references if they actually make sense in the movie. Like, if you have to know the reference to understand the movie or gain enjoyment from it, then I think that it's not the best kind of reference. A reference has to work if the person watching the movie doesn't know about the reference. It still has to work. There's so many references and like callbacks. It's the same with the Jurassic World movies, specifically Jurassic World, the fourth one, where it just constantly calls back to the previous great films. The first film, it just does that thing where, oh, do you remember this film that was amazing? Yeah, keep that in your head while you watch this film so that you feel good. In the beginning, when they're introducing our antagonist character, it does a zoom in on the uh, car mirror, the looking glass, obviously referencing to objects in the mirror closer than they appear from the first film. And it stays there a bit longer than it needs to be, and then it shows the antagonist's face. That, in my opinion, doesn't work because someone who has no idea about the first film will watch that and go, why did they spend slightly uncomfortably long time just looking at the mirror? And like, what's the point?
One example where this reference works is in the film Barbie, where, if I remember correctly, one character is chasing another character, and they're in both parties are in a car, and then they do the objects in the mirror reference, and it works in that one because one character is actually using the mirror to look behind them, and it also works as a reference because
I'm realizing that I might sound like crazy, but I really like the first film, and it pains me that out of what we have 7 films now, these 6, they're just milking that first film without really trying their own thing or just being good. I probably sound crazy, but I'd rather be crazy. Crazy and cringe. That's the motto of the channel. They also, okay, any good shot or scene from this film can be traced back to the first film, the previous films, especially the first film. The sauropod scene in the middle, and the raptor kitchen sequence involving kids being trapped. Anything good that you can extrapolate from this film, you can trace it back to the first one. Just watch the first one. It's infinitely better. Another thing is the editing of the film. For a big blockbuster, big budget film, it surprisingly has like a lot of editing errors. Scene transitions don't make sense, like one scene doesn't flow into the other, it just happens. I think one of the creators of the original How to Train Your Dragon, I'm trying to remember the name, they said that if your story has this happened, and then this happened, and then this, if it has and then in bunch of times, that means your story isn't good. What it should be is like, this happens, therefore this happens. However, this happened, which is why this happened. That's how it should flow. There's some dialogue that's obviously like added in while in post-production. Like the audio is so clearly different, like it's baffling. They didn't even like put an effort to actually like match the audio. Like it's obvious that it's different audio, one in a recording booth maybe, and the other one was in the film already. It's also very technically unimpressive film. Like on a technical level, it's unimpressive. It's again manufactured corporate slop, made to be a summer blockbuster so that your children and family will come and pay the money and watch it and then forget about it after, I don't know, however many days or weeks. I know I'm tearing into this film a bit too much, but it is better than Dominion. I will fully admit that. Dominion is a crime against humanity and art itself. Although I liked parts of the parts of this movie, I would still call it a disappointment in my eyes. I should probably make a video about a positive movie for once. The Godzilla movies, Godzilla movie reviews, they're coming. All right. Oh boy, I guess we're done. Whoops, editing Shurier here, so I forgot to talk about the designs and some other things, so I'm gonna quickly record that. The design of the D-Rex, I think it's dumb. I think it does not look good. It's generic monster thing. I think it represents the corporate greed slop really well. I do like the sauropod's design. I'm not gonna say which dinosaur it is. It's in the middle of the movie. I also like the Quetzalcoatlus in this movie. I like those designs. And about accuracy, in my opinion, if a dinosaur is not entirely 100% accurate, it doesn't have to be if it's cool and it serves a purpose in the story. Case in point, in the first movie, the T-Rex is blind to all sound. If you don't move, then it's just blind. Obviously, that's inaccurate. But it worked in the movie's favor because the movie made some incredibly tense and amazing scenes out of that. Whereas in this movie, they have some inaccuracies, some like unnecessary inaccuracies. Like, why would you change that? For what reason? And also the sheer retconning of the first film, like, oh, this there is a secret third island now, which no one knew about and we didn't talk about in all of the previous films. But yeah, it's a small, short rant inside of a rant that I just wanted to throw out. Oh my god, I sound insane. That was my first impressions, initial impressions of the film Jurassic World Rebirth. When I watch it again, maybe some things will change. I don't know. It comes August first week, I think. August 2nd, was it? Well, when it comes to digital platforms. But yeah, I don't know if I'll make another video on it. I should probably like actually give it a more thorough look. We'll see. But yeah, if you somehow liked my rambling, then perhaps subscribe, like, do all that jazz. Perhaps watch my other videos. They're here, maybe here. And with that, farewell.